All right, moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert's the QB1. Easton Stick is the number 2. They did draft Max Duggan or Dugan or however the hell you say that guy's name. Dugan.
Dude.
Great restaurant, Max Dugan's, by the way. And you could, Rich? Did you ever go there growing up?
All right. I did. Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed every meal.
I love that place. Austin Ekeler as the running back, Josh Kelly, Isaiah Spiller, Elijah Dotson. He showed out pretty well in the week 1 preseason game. At tight end, they have Gerald Everett, Donald Parham, Trey McKitty, and Mike at wide receiver, Mike Williams, my boy. Quentin Johnston, Keenan Allen, Jalen Guyton, Josh Palmer, Darius Davis. That's about it on that one. I'm not going to go any further.
Yep, that's fair.
Justin Herbert, now I'll talk about there. Is there any dip in his value because of the numbers put up last year, which he was quarterback 11, literally being a quarterback 1 his entire career, to sign a massive extension? You're talking about somebody who's vested there. But if there's any dip because of like Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, like I still personally have Justin Herbert as my quarterback 3 overall. And
easy for you to say.
No, I'm 100% with you. Think about what happened last year. Dude had like a really bad like rib injury that he kept like dealing with, and then Keenan Allen got hurt, and then Mike Williams got hurt, and like everything that could have gone wrong in the passing game went wrong, and he was still a quarterback 1. So it's wheels up for Justin Herbert. I'm 100% with you. Any sort of dip I'm buying.
Yeah, and they bring in they change the offensive coordinator. They go with Kellen Moore, which is fantastic. I mean, Kellen Moore's offense is historically finished in the top 3rd when it comes to scoring in the NFL. So this is great news for Justin Herbert there as well. And you mentioned, Garrett, him getting his receivers back. I mean, we're not just talking about getting regular receivers back. We're talking about 2 wide receiver 1s. 2 wide receiver 1s in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, who are on the wrong side of 28. I know Keenan Allen's going to be 31 and Mike Williams is going to be 29, I believe, this year. But they're still for this year, still qualified to put up wide receiver 1 numbers. And that's what they do when they're on the field and perform. We just got to see them on the field.
Absolutely,
and perform.
Man. And, you look at both those guys' contracts, they both have outs after this year. So this might be one of those things where Quentin Johnston is learning for 1 year, and then they make a decision on one of these guys. Right now, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are right around 13 million against the cap. So they're up there as far as chewing up the cap space. Obviously, you get a couple more years out of Mike Williams, and I could definitely see a scenario where one of those guys is not on this team though next year. And for me, I mean, who do you really move? Well, I guess we'll see how this year goes. I mean, if Mike Williams still can't stay healthy again this year, it might be him off the team. We'll see. As much as that pains me to say.
I mean, it's hard to bring a 32-year wide receiver back.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably Keenan Allen with his age. That's a tough spot.
I mean, I think they did him a favor by guaranteeing his contract this year to kind of make it a little bit easier going into the next year.
I mean, we'll see though, right? I mean, that's one of those things where if Mike Williams doesn't stay healthy and Keenan balls out, it could go the other way. That's all I'm saying.
I think they're great buys for both championships. Obviously, Mike Williams would be the cheaper version, but if you're a dynasty contender, these are both fantastic buys. I mean, I did a flip earlier this week. I did a trade where I traded Devontae Adams in my high stakes league, and I got back Keenan Allen. Oh man, I can't remember now. All of a sudden, it was Keenan Allen.
I was there with you, and I can't remember either. When you were doing the trade,
I can't remember. But I was trying to, I think, because he was hurt last year, you forget how much value Keenan Allen brings to the table with a savvy route run and how much Justin Herbert likes to go to him as well when he's healthy. I mean, he was a low-end wide receiver 1 last year before he did get hurt. And he comes in there week in and week out, and he produces. I got Alvin Kamara, Josh Palmer, and Keenan Allen for Devontae Adams.
I like
so
that.
I felt pretty good about that. And I'll end the show with a crazy trade I just made too. I'll see what you guys like this one as well. I thought I put it on Twitter, but I don't know if you guys saw it. I felt like I won it pretty significantly. But I think they're both great ads for this year. I think Quentin Johnson, kind of how we talked about the Chiefs receivers, like it was great that the Chargers were pumping him up in the beginning of this preseason with these one-handed catches, like, oh, can't catch. Well, there's a lot of reports coming camp now that he's having some drop issues, which is somewhat of a concern. And, my concerns wasn't his overall hands. My concern with Quentin Johnson was when a defensive back is on him. Like, he didn't win with his size that you anticipated he would be, and that's where the drops even come more into effect. He's catching with his body a little bit more. So, can Quentin Johnson pull a DK Metcalf and do better? Of course he can. But for this year, a team that's trying to compete and get to the Super Bowl with this roster that they have, knowing this is probably the last time they're going to have this core together, then it's going to be Keenan Allen and Mike Williams if those guys are healthy. And then Gerald Everett at tight end. And don't forget, Austin Ekeler is more of a pass catcher than he is a rusher. So for me, I think all those guys can live in this offense and win, definitely under Kellen Mond. I think they're all buys. Obviously, Austin Ekeler, everybody wants him, but he's an expensive running back out there. But Keenan Allen, Mike Williams can both be had out there for the right kind of deals. I understand you not want to give a first-round pick for either of those guys if you're a contender, and that makes total sense. But I think there is a workaround, and I think that workaround is youth for both of those players. If you can come at that one of those teams that's somewhat out of it, and you can offer some kind of youth to go with a second-round pick, they can be had, and they're both the kind of talented players that could be wide receiver ones in the same offense and carry you to a championship. I love them in 2023.
One last thing I'll touch on is you mentioned it real briefly, Matt, but Elijah Dotson is somebody that we didn't get to really talk about because we had never heard of him. Nobody had really heard of him. Get out of Northern Colorado that came out, but he's performed really well. A lot of the things I'm reading is he's outperforming a lot of the other backups on this team. Now, he's not huge. He's like 205 pounds, so he's not like a super big physical back, but we keep waiting for there to be somebody with Austin Ekeler. Is it going to be him? Chances are no. He's an undrafted guy, but worthwhile end of the bench stash just in case he ends up being that guy, or they, things go poorly and they trade Austin Ekeler midseason. Like just a name to keep in mind to just stash at the end of your bench.
Anytime that there's a running back that has an issue, you want to start looking at the backups, right? See who's on the roster that can fill a void if there is a move made. Elijah Dotson, I believe, was a wide receiver convert.
He was,
which
converted.
In my eyes, ding. I mean, this is a guy that can come in, do the pass catching work that if Austin Ekeler, for whatever reason, finds his way off this team, I would see Isaiah Spiller doing most of the dirty work between the tackles, but they're gonna still want that element in the offense, and a converted wide receiver in Elijah Dotson is the guy that makes some sense, at least in my brain, as a guy that could fill that void.
Yep.
So I went out and I did pick him up on a team where I had a spot, and just in case, we'll see what happens. That's exactly how I got Austin Ekeler originally. You know what I mean? Austin Ekeler came out of nowhere.
I was going to say, he was an undrafted free agent too.
Exactly.
Same type of thing.
Mm-hmm.